Renaissance Square, 200 East Berry Street.
Yes.
There's been this whole ongoing issue. It's still kind of up in the air a little bit as far as I think things are starting to come together now as far as costs and things like that. Yeah. Do you think that it's good to look at co-locating some aspects of government, for instance, what they call the development team? Yeah. Do you think that's a good idea?
I find it fascinating that we have been co-located in the city-county building. I just find it fascinating. The city chose to leave because the city expanded and annexed, and they've continued to grow. So as the city continues to grow, they feel that they have to leave that building and go find another building in the heart of downtown to provide more expense, more and such for the taxpayers. We were already together. They left. The county simply said, okay, fine, you've bought another building. We'll also move in order to make this more effective, in order to make it more efficient. County will go ahead, and by the way, we think you paid too much for the building. I think the county said that. The press moves in, cameras come on. We've all of a sudden realized, good grief, look at the 7th floor. Is it the 7th or 7th floor, I think, which is way too much. Can we cut back? Should we pull back? Should we, and here we are. But that said, that's a decision that was made. It's done. Mm-hmm. Now, what do we do for the benefit of this community? What do we do for the benefit of the individual that needs to come in? We can make the best of that. So it's. I don't know that I would have been in favor of it, but at this point in time, that decision's made. We need to be great and make great decisions for the people that are going to come down in downtown to get their government services. We can do good things down there. We'll make it happen.
Did you agree with some of the county's stance on the issue?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and right now, and to my understanding, we're still trying to figure out where to park cars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're still trying to figure out which departments are going to move, and I think it's kind of all in flux right now.
And it has something to do, and I'm on the outside looking in, so sure. I'm not in any of these meetings. I'm not getting information or anything, but the pieces that I've heard through media and just idle chatter is that we're trying to figure out which departments to move, but we're also trying to figure out we don't have enough parking if we move this particular department, so that one ought to stay because we don't have parking in the new building. So I'm fascinated by that. Those are things that could have, should have, might have been thought about ahead of time, I
think. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's talk about the Board of Commissioners. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if you're elected to County Council, you'll be working with them somewhat. Mm-hmm. Are 3 commissioners better than 1?
Well, that's an interesting question, the way you put it. Are three heads better than one? That old adage, I guess, as well. My concern again is the elimination of representation. I find it fascinating when we're going to go and change the Constitution based on possibly personalities. That if 2 or 3 people are not working together, let's change that form of government to make it look like the city government, rather than deal with the 3 people that are in those seats. Do we need to change the form of government when we disagree with an individual that's in that? No, there's ways to deal with that. So I don't like the idea of reducing representation. You asked me a minute ago about the elimination of township government. What happened last year, which is a bit fascinating to me, is that we were talking about the elimination of township government. At the same time, we were talking about, it was being considered in the state of Indiana General Assembly, that we were going to eliminate the 3 commissioners and move to 1. So you've got people in the rural area that lose their township government and lose 2 of their commissioners, while we move to the same model that exists in the city of Fort Wayne. Is that the best model? This is one county in one state throughout this great land. do we have the best model? Why did we move immediately to set it up like a city structure? Why did we not look across this country for a better model for county government? And it's out there. I think we before we change the Constitution, before we change a form of government, let's do a little more research, compare where we're at in comparison to other great communities across the country, and pick the best model before we just jump immediately to the easiest choice.
One of the things also that's been kind of, I think it's kind of lost traction or has kind of fallen by the wayside, is this whole idea of payment in lieu of taxes for nonprofits. In other words, they don't pay property taxes, yet they still receive fire protection, still receive sheriff, still receive police protection.
Sure.
So there's been some talk of maybe doing some payment in lieu of that.
Yeah.
What are your feelings about that?
Let me jump, if I could. I don't know if you were going to ask me about casinos. Would you ever ask me about casinos?
That was, yes,
Yeah.
that's down the road.
I think casino, well, and let me just answer that. I'm not in favor of casinos. I think it's an easy way out for government to get more taxes. I think that's what's going on. And when I look to non-for-profits, I work for one. All right, so I work for a non-for-profit. When we're making tough decisions, and by the way, we're giving back to the community in ways that other companies may not, or may choose not, or may not be able to, but we give back to the community. I think that's good enough. And I'm concerned that because our tax base might not be vibrant enough, we now turn to our non-for-profits to try to get more tax income rather than figuring out how do we get more viable business in here to raise more taxes. So.
Mm-hmm. How do we get more businesses to come in to our area?
Yeah.
And how can you affect that on county council? I mean,
Sure.
we talked about land banking a little bit.
Sure. Well, and Steve, that's a great question, because there are limits to county council. County council is a fiscal body. It's a responsibility for approximately $89 million on the county budget. Our job is to look over the budgets of all these other departments under the commissioners, of course, and then all the different elected officials. There are limitations on what we can do. That said, as I mentioned a little bit ago, we've got a lot of different initiatives going on, both locally in Fort Wayne, in the county, and even in Northeast Indiana with the Northeast Indiana Regional Partnership on strategies on growing. And in talking to these LEDOs, or local economic development organizations, one of the things they're saying is they need certified properties to be able to sell, to be able to communicate. We've got site selectors that travel the country, that trying to find the best place to locate a business. We've got a lot to add, a lot of value in this community. But when these LEDOs tell us we don't have enough product, if you will, quote unquote product, to be able to sell to site selectors, then we've got to figure out, okay, we've got to do something different. We need more product, which is why the county, I think, looks to land banking a little bit, because what they're trying to do is say, let's get more product out there so that when the local economic development organizations are talking to these site selectors, they're going to say, we've got a property here, we've got a property, we've got the infrastructure, we've got all these things. Right now, Allen County, now this has been dated, so I'm probably off about 4 months, but we do not have any certified sites in Allen County. We have shovel-ready sites, but not certified sites. So one of the things that are talked about, sometimes you'll hear in the economic development world, is that we've got to have shovel-ready sites. When you talk to some of the LEDOs, they say shovel-ready sites are good, but now we need to move to another step, which are certified sites. The certified site concept is basically that they've got all the permits, all the zoning, everything is in place that needs to be there. We can do better than shovel-ready sites. Let's get to certified sites. Let's provide product for our local economic development organizations, and then let's really promote this community so that the site selectors are coming here, we offer the product, and we'll connect. So long answer to another good question, sorry.